Bernie Sanders is one of the Democratic candidates running for president. Sanders recently beat out Hillary Clinton in the polls done in Iowa, Sanders leading by 10 points, 43% to 33%. Despite this lead in the key state of Iowa and the recent scandal Clinton has been involved in, Sanders refuses to participate in what is called political mudslinging. Political mudslinging is an attempt to discredit one's competitor, opponent, etc. by malicious or scandalous attacks. An example of this would be the various attack ads that you see on TV around the time of the election. Instead, Sanders focuses on getting funding from the general public and focusing his time and energy on talking to the American people about his plan. On his website, he has a video labeled Progress, which introduces what he plans to do if he is voted in to become the next president of the United States. This video contains many rhetorical appeals when speaking to the potential voters of the 2016 election. Sanders effectively is able to use these appeals to make a successful ad in the way that he doesn't focus too heavily on one. Instead, he uses a variety of rhetorical appeals to make his points clear. The first rhetorical appeal we're going to talk about is ethos. Sanders' use of ethos establishes himself as someone who is credible and should be listened to. He first gives a history of his mom and dad, going back to his roots and explaining that he did not grow up rich or privileged. He also relates to the immigrant population of the U.S. by talking about his father, who came to America as an immigrant himself.
Of his life. I grew up in Brooklyn. Many of the families were immigrants, and they understood the importance of education.
He also talks about his involvement in the civil rights movement when he was in college, as well as being present for the famous Martin Luther King speech, "I Have a Dream."
The mall was an extraordinary speech. I had the feeling that I was, at that particular moment, part of history.
He continues to show that he is credible by talking about a bill that he worked on with John McCain, a member of the Republican Party. He shows in this example that he was above normal party politics to help make a difference in the lives of veterans. This use of ethos is successful in giving Sanders credibility with the American public. The next rhetorical appeal we're going to talk about is logos. Bernie Sanders uses logos in his ad in a couple ways. First is cause and effect statements. He does this in regards to making college free for American students. He states that if we don't have a well-educated workforce, then we won't have a strong economy. He also appeals to logos by using short, simple statements. For example, speaking about groups as a whole, such as blacks and gays, and making a statement that human beings deserve equal rights and the color of their skin or sexual orientation shouldn't matter. His final use of logos is by using numbers. He explains the number of jobs he's going to create over the next 5 years, as well as the statement that if someone is working 40 hours a week or full-time, they should not be living in poverty. His use of logos is effective due to the fact that the logic he uses is easy and simple to understand. The final rhetorical appeal we're going to talk about is pathos. Pathos is utilized in this ad in a way that is not overwhelming or harmful to the overall message. Bernie Sanders uses quotes from the American people to portray pathos. He uses the quote from a veteran to lead into his statement about moral responsibility, which is an emotional appeal to our sense of right and wrong. He does this again by utilizing a quote from a woman talking about the issues of global warming as well as her children. He turns that into an emotional appeal by showing him speaking about making the world a better place for the following generations, which is something that parents want for their kids. This use of pathos is effective by appealing to the emotions of the audience as well as the values of what is important to them.